Everyone wears a mask, not out of deceit, but survival. The world demands roles: parent, lover, friend, saint, monster, and we perform them until we forget which one was real. But beneath that performance, there's a pulse, a raw, ancient rhythm, the shadow. And Carl Jung called it the side of us we bury, the chaos we pretend not to hear. You can't see someone's true character in their smiles or their words. You see it when their mask cracks, when fear leaks through their voice, when envy slips from their eyes, when pain meets silence. There are 5 things that never lie, 5 quiet signs that reveal who a person truly is. They live in the smallest details: reactions, boundaries, compassion, anger, truth. Jung believed the unconscious speaks through symbols, and people are symbols, walking mirrors of their hidden selves. Watch closely enough, and the truth reveals itself like a dream turning lucid. If you're ready to see beyond illusions, type "I choose to see beyond the mask" in the comments. Because from this moment forward, we step into the underworld, where appearances fade and own essence remains. Number 2, reaction in the dark. The first sign of a person's true character is how they react when life turns off the lights. Not when everything is shining, not when the applause is loud, but when the room grows cold, silent, and no one is watching. Reaction in the dark is the language of the soul. When the mask has no audience to impress, the unconscious takes the stage. Some people curse the night and crumble beneath it. Others become it: calm, still, dangerous. Carl Jung taught that every shadow we repress waits for the right moment to surface, and that moment always comes when the light fades. Watch how someone responds to betrayal, failure, or silence. Do they blame the world, or do they confront the reflection staring back at them? The ego flails, but the self, the deeper self, listens. It learns, it transforms. True character is not in what people say they would do, it in what they actually become when they're stripped of comfort. The way a person holds their darkness tells you everything about the light they'll create. Those who meet pain with awareness, who breathe through the storm instead of becoming it, reveal something sacred, a strength that is not loud but ancient. You'll feel it when you're near them, it in their gaze, calm and unshaken, as if they've already died once and returned with secrets. Jung believed the night is the great teacher of consciousness. How someone treats their night determines how deeply they've met themselves. So watch, not for perfection, but for presence, not for charm, but for awareness. The next time you witness someone's reaction in the dark, you'll know exactly who stands before you. Comment "I rise from my own darkness" if you understand this truth, because only those who face their shadows without fear can walk freely in the light. Number 3, desire and temptation. The second sign of a person's true character is found in their desires, not what they admit wanting, but what they secretly crave when no one will judge them. Desire is the compass of the unconscious. It points not toward morality, but toward truth. Carl Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Look at what draws a person: hunger, power, control, validation, peace, or freedom. What they reach for reveals the archetype moving through them: the king craving order, the lover chasing connection, the warrior seeking conquest, the magician longing for transformation. Every desire is a mirror of the soul's unfinished story. And temptation is the test that exposes whether the ego serves the self or enslaves it. When temptation whispers, you can see how much power someone truly has. Because real power is not in taking, but in restraint. The person who can touch fire and not burn has met their shadow and learned to dance with it. Watch how someone behaves when they could indulge without consequence. That their integrity lives or dies. Jung believed that every soul wrestles between Eros and Thanatos, the forces of creation and destruction. Desire is that battlefield. It never the want that damns us, it the refusal to understand why we want it. If someone hides their longing in shame, it festers into manipulation. But if they confront it with awareness, that same energy becomes divine fuel, the drive to create, to heal, to ascend. To know a person's true character, ask not what they've achieved, but what they secretly hunger for when silence surrounds them. If you're brave enough to face your own desires without flinching, type "My desire serves my awakening." Because the one who owns their hunger no longer kneels before it, they master it. And through that mastery, they glimpse the shape of their true soul. Number 4, how they treat the powerless. The third sign of a person's true character is how they treat those who cannot give them anything. The powerless, the forgotten, the ones beneath society mask. Carl Jung believed that the way we treat the weakest side of ourselves mirrors how we treat others. Every human carries an inner beggar, an inner child, an inner fool. When you watch someone, pay attention to how they respond to vulnerability. Not grand gestures, but the small, invisible moments. Do they speak with patience to the waitress, or contempt? Do they show kindness to a stray animal, or pretend it not there? The ego feeds on hierarchy. It loves to feel above. But the self, the deeper, unified center, recognizes the sacred in all forms. Jung wrote that the true test of individuation is compassion born from strength, not from guilt. Power reveals the shadow faster than pain bare could. When someone gains even a taste of dominance, watch what leaks from their eyes. Some use power to build walls, others use it to build sanctuaries. The difference is everything. The tyrant archetype grows in those who have not faced their own smallness. They crush others to silence their own insecurity. But those who have descended into humility, who have met the archetype of the servant within themselves, carry an aura of quiet command. They do donate to dominate, because they have already conquered the chaos within. When you witness cruelty disguised as strength, you are seeing the shadow screaming for attention. When you witness mercy that costs something, you are seeing the self emerging through the human form. In dreams, this test often appears as tending to a wounded creature, the act that awakens the hero. In waking life, it's the subtle, the listening when no one adore. Remember, character is not how someone behaves in front of power, but how they behave when power is theirs to wield. So, observe silently. Let people reveal their theology through their treatment of the powerless. The unconscious always slips through the cracks of superiority. The ones who use their strength to lift others are the ones who have truly met their shadow and befriended it. If you understand this, comment, "My strength protects, not destroys." Because in the end, greatness is not measured by how high you rise, but by how gently you reach down while standing there. Number 5, the way they speak about the absent. The fourth sign of a person's true character lies not in how they speak to someone, but how they speak about them when they're gone. Carl Jung said that what we project onto others reveals what we've refused to see within ourselves. When someone not present to defend themselves, the veil drops and the shadow begins to whisper. Listen carefully to the tone, not just the words. Gossip is never about truth, it's about shadow displacement. The mind attempt to offload its darkness onto someone else's image. Every insult hurled at the absent is a confession disguised as commentary. Those who constantly dissect others' flaws are merely narrating their own wounds, their own insecurities wrapped in moral clothing. Jung understood that the human psyche creates enemies to avoid facing the internal adversary. The person who attacks reputation behind closed doors is battling their own unseen self, and the one who speaks with fairness, even when unseen, has achieved a quiet alchemy, the merging of shadow and self. The mature soul knows that every word carries psychic weight, and to poison another name is to contaminate one's own. How someone speaks about us when no one will know tells you the purity of their intention and the depth of their integration. Watch for those who turn away from cruelty mid-conversation, who redirect venom into silence. That is strength. That is inner sovereignty. The shadow craves audience, the soul requires none. When someone can honor another person's humanity in their absence, it means they've made peace with the humanity within themselves. This is why Jung warned everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an end of ourselves. Words are spells, and every whisper against another is a curse that circles back. The person who has faced their shadow doesn't need to diminish anyone, because they've already walked through their own underworld and returned with empathy. Silly fuck. Listen to the way they describe those who cannot hear them. You'll know who they are. And when you catch yourself doing the same, pause, observe the projection, and pull it home. That's how integration begins. If this truth resonates, type "My words reveal my soul integrity." Because in the silence after gossip fades, the unconscious keeps its score, and only the integrated speak with light even when the room is dark. Number 6, how they face their own pain. The fifth and final sign of true character is how a person faces their own pain. Carl Jung taught that there is no awakening without suffering, and that what we do with our pain defines whether we become whole or merely haunted. Every human carries a wound, invisible, sacred, relentless, and it's not the pain itself that shapes us, but our relationship with it. Some run from it, building fortresses of distraction. Some project it, turning their hurt into weapons. But a few, the rare few, sit in the fire and listen. They descend into their own darkness with trembling hands and unflinching eyes. Jung called this the night sea journey, the passage through despair that births consciousness. When someone meets their own pain without self-pay, without dramatization, you're witnessing the birth of the self. They no longer ask, "Why me?" They whisper, "What is this teaching me?" The wound becomes initiation, the suffering becomes symbol. Watch carefully how a person responds to pain will tell you whether they are ruled by their shadow or guided by it. Those who blame endlessly remain trapped in the labyrinth. Those who take their suffering and create meaning from it, art, compassion, strength, have become the alchemists of the psyche. Pain is the crucible in which character is forged. Jung believed that the soul's deepest gold lies in the place we least want to look. To know someone truly, see how they speak of their scars. Do they wear them as chains or as medals of survival? The ones who have integrated pain walk differently, slower, quieter, yet infinitely stronger. Their eyes its storms that never pass, only deepen into wisdom. And when they speak, the air listens. To face pain consciously is to meet the divine within it. It's not about escaping the wound, but letting it carve the shape of your becoming. If this truth resonates with you, comment, "My pain is my transformation." Because the person who can embrace their suffering without surrendering to it has already crossed the threshold. Jung spoke of the line between victimhood and individuation, between human and awakened soul. Number 7, the shadow mirror. What these 5 signs reveal about you, everything you notice in others, is a reflection of something within yourself. That is the secret Jung left us, the truth that makes observers uncomfortable, and the self-aware unbreakable. The 5 signs you've learned are not tools to judge others, but mirrors to expose your own evolution. How do you react in the dark? What awakens your secret desire? How do you treat the powerless? Speak of the absent. Face your own pain. Each answer is a compass pointing toward the edges of your shadow. Jung said that the greatest burden the soul must bear is the unlived life within us, and the unlived life hides behind the traits we condemn in others. The liar you despise may symbolize your fear of honesty. The manipulator may reflect your hunger for control. The cold-hearted may reveal the warmth you refuse to give yourself. The shadow is not your enemy, it's your unclaimed power, your unpolished truth. To meet it is to become whole. When you judge another, pause. What emotion rises? Anger, disgust, envy, pity. That feeling is a thread leading straight into the unconscious. Follow it, trace it to the root. You'll find a version of yourself waiting in the dark, asking to be seen. Jung told this shadow integration, not becoming good, but becoming real. The mature soul does not seek purity, it seeks totality. When you stop projecting your shadow, the world becomes transparent. Every encounter turns into a conversation between mirrors. The people who irritate you the most often carry the message your soul refuses to deliver. So when someone's behavior stings, ask, what part of me does this awaken? That's how transformation begins. The outer world bends to match the inner one, and life stops being a battlefield. It becomes a dialogue between light and shadow. If you understand this truth, type "I am the mirror and the reflection," because the power you seek in others, the clarity you crave from the world, has always been hiding inside you, in the places you feared to look, in the darkness that was never meant to be destroyed, but embraced and wrote into the light of awareness. Number 8, the dance of masks. Why we hide our true character? We hide because we fear the gaze that truly sees. Every human being wears a mask, not to deceive us, but to protect the fragile core within. Jung called the mask the persona, the social armor forged between the self and the world. It the smile at the funeral, the polite silence during betrayal, the laughter that hides the scream. The mask is not the enemy, is the shield that allowed us to survive childhood, society, and rejection. But over time, the mask begins to suffocate the face beneath it. We forget that it was meant to serve us, not define us. Beneath every carefully constructed image is a trembling child, longing to be accepted that they are. And yet the modern world rewards illusion more than authenticity. It praises the loud, the polished, the endlessly certain. But the soul doesn't speak in performance. It whispers through imperfection, vulnerability, contradiction. We hide our true character because exposure feels it death. To be seen without armor is to risk annihilation. Jung wrote that the meeting with oneself is the meeting with the shadow. and that confrontation is terrifying. To admit you are both light and darkness, victim and villain, saint and sinner, that is to stand naked before your own soul. The ego resists this, clinging to identity like a drowning man to driftwood. But wholeness demands surrender. The dance of masks continues until the pain of pretending outweighs the fear of truth. Then, something breaks. Quietly, beautifully. The persona fractures, and through the cracks, the self begins to breathe. That is the moment of rebirth, when we stop seeking to appear good and begin to become real. Authentication is not the destruction of the mask, it learning to wear it consciously, to let it speak without letting it rule. You can smile and still be honest, be strong and still be scarred. That balance is the true art of being human. If you understand this, type "My mask serves my truth," because the goal was never to kill the persona, it was to awaken the one who wears it, to step from performance into presence, from illusion into the eternal mirror of self-awareness. Number 9. The alchemy of shadow, turning darkness into power. Every soul carries darkness, but only a few learn to refine it into power. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the sacred alchemy of turning the unconscious into gold. Most people fear their shadow because they mistake it for evil. But darkness is not evil, it energy, raw, untamed, and waiting to be understood. Inside every rage lies unclaimed strength. Inside every envy hides buried potential. Inside every fear sleeps the courage that was never allowed to speak. The alchemist does not run from the poison, they drink it consciously, allowing it to transmute from toxin to medicine. That is what shadow work truly is, not light chasing away dark, but dark becoming light through awareness. Jung compared it to the myth of the dragon guarding the treasure. What we most fear to face holds what we most long to find. When you confront your shadow, your jealousy, your anger, your shame, you are facing the dragon. And when you stop fighting it and begin to understand it, you realize the dragon was never your enemy. It was your guardian, testing your readiness to claim your power. The fire that once burned you becomes the fire that forges you. Real transformation begins when you stop say, "I must destroy my darkness," and start say, "I must listen to it." The universe doesn't divide you into light and dark. It asks you to integrate, to become whole. Every saint was once a sinner who accepted their humanity. Every creator was once broken enough to find beauty in the ruins. Your shadow holds your artistry, your passion, your authority. To own it is to become dangerous in the most sacred way, powerful without cruelty, strong without denial. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Remember that line, because it is the map of the inner world. The one who faces their shadow becomes unshakable, not perfect but real. If this truth stirs something in you, comment, "I turn my darkness into gold." Because the greatest power is not light alone, it, the harmony between what was hidden and what was finally seen, between the fire and the flame bearer. Number 10, the final reflection, seeing the soul behind the eyes. In the end, to see someone's true character is to look not at their face but into the stillness behind their eyes. Jung said that the eyes are windows to the soul, because they cannot lie. The unconscious leaks through them, lit light through cracks in stone. When you truly look at someone, not to judge but to understand, you begin to see beyond form. You see the child that once dreamed, the wounds that still ache, the strength quietly shaping them into who they are becoming. Every soul carries both shadow and light, and the eyes reveal how those two forces dance within. Some eyes hide behind fear, darting from their own reflection. Others hold the steady calm of one who has walked through fire and made peace with the ashes. To see clear is to love without illusion, to honor both the beauty and the brokenness of what it means to be human. This is the essence of Jung truth. Wholeness is not perfection, it is integration. The moment you recognize this, every person becomes a mirror, every encounter an initiation. So before you look away, pause, look deeper. Behind every gaze is a universe, and every mask a story. If you feel this, comment, "I see beyond the eyes." And if this journey spoke to your own depths, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. On the shadow self, we do not fear the dark, we walk through it and we learn to see.